Good morning students friends. Up till now in manufacturing processes subject we have completed two units, that is molding processes and casting process. Today we will start unit 3, that is fettling, cleaning and inspection of casting. In the first chapter we have seen the basic terms in casting process, basic steps in casting process, various types of patterns, definition of pattern, definition of core and its types, definition of core box and its types. Again we have seen components of gating system and its function of each part. Again methods to improve efficiency of riser we have also seen in unit first. In the section in second unit we have seen various types of melting furnaces used in the foundry industry. These are cupola furnace, induction furnace, electric furnace, crucible furnace, and various types of pouring equipments also we have seen, that is folding ladle, lip pouring ladle, bottom pour ladle, teapot ladle, one man ladle and two man ladle. Up till now means up to the end of second chapter or second unit we have completed the pouring action of molten metal inside the mold cavity. In the unit 3 we are looking out the fettling, cleaning and inspection of casting. One by one we will see all those terms. Now first term is the fettling. This is a group of processes. What is meant by fettling? Fettling is the name given to cover all those operations which help in giving the casting a good appearance after the same has been taken out of the sand mold. After solidification of the metal, that mold is taken to the fettling station where the casting is taken out. And purpose of this fettling is to give a good appearance to the casting when that is taken out of the sand mold. Now we have seen that sand casting process is a expendable casting process. Expendable casting process means what? The mold cavity is designed for a single use. It is not a permanent mold, but in case of permanent mold casting process or pressure die casting process, the mold is made up of metal. It is used many times before it is discarded. That's why it is called as a non-expendable casting process. And the sand casting, shell molding, investment casting, CO2 molding, all these are the expendable casting process. We have seen this. Fettling is the name given to cover all those operations which help in giving the casting a good appearance after the same has been taken out of the sand mold. That is called as a fettling. Now, which operations are involved in fettling? It means fettling includes removal of cores from the casting. We have seen in the first chapter, core is made up of sand. Core is generally removed by breaking. We can use directly hammer for breaking of the core, and core is only required when I have to produce the hollow casting. If my casting is solid, there is no question of using a core. Fettling includes removal of core from the casting. Second, adhering sand and oxide scale. In the first chapter we have seen adhering sand means काही चिटकून बसलेली sand to the surface of casting, and oxide scales. Whatever manganese, silicon is present inside the molten metal, at a higher temperature they are forming their respective oxides, and that oxides are adhering to the surface of casting and they are deteriorating the surface, means casting is not good in its appearance unless and until the adhering sand and oxide scale has been removed out. That is adhering sand and oxide scale. Again, removal of gates, risers, runners from the surface of casting. We have seen the components of gating system are important for filling of the mold cavity. After filling of the mold cavity, the metal is also solidified inside the gating system, and which is a scrap. In the foundry industry, metal solidified in the gating system is scrap, as well as metal solidified in the riser is also a scrap, which is removed by breaking. Second is removal of fins and unwanted projections from the casting. Fins are provided on the surface of casting for removal of the heat. If I have to remove the heat from the surface of casting, I can use the fins. Again, unwanted projections. Along the parting line, unwanted projections are occurring. During solidification of the molten metal, the metal may flow out along the parting line, means intersection line of the cope and track, and that solidified metal is also need to be removed, that is called as unwanted projections from the casting. Now fettling is a broad term. It includes removal of the cores, removal of adhering sand and oxide scale, removal of gates, risers, runners from the surface of casting, and removal of fins and unwanted projections from the casting. That is called as a fettling. Now, first thing is removal of core. It is difficult to remove dry sand and harden the cores in the absence of suitable equipment. We have studied in the first chapter how the core is made. Core is made up of core sand, and that sand is a mixture of dry silica sand along with sodium silicate liquid base binder, and that mixture is uh, kept inside the core box, which is having the final shape as the core to be produced. After ramming of that core sand inside the core box and after drying, it is taken out. Again it is placed in the oven for baking, so that required strength and hardness is given to the surface of that core, and afterwards it is placed inside the mold cavity, means core is hardened. By placing that core inside the oven, we are making hardening of that core, so it is not that much easy to break that core without any kind of suitable equipment. Hammering or vibrations are given to the cores, which will make it loose and break them up. Directly we can hammer the core by using the hammers, that may be ball pen hammer, stretch pen hammer, or any kind of hammer which is available in the industry. You can directly carry out hammering on the surface of core to break it, and or you can place that casting on the vibrator assembly, so that the core will get loosened at its place and you can remove it after its losing. As core is placed, as core is inside the casting, that's why there may be sand sticking to the internal surface of that casting, and it is removed by the poking action. Poking action means what? One metal rod is there and it is having a pin point at the front, and just you have to carry out the rubbing action by using that pin point to the inner surface of the casting, and that action is called as a poking action. One metallic rod is there which is having pin point at its front, and by using that pin point we have to remove the core sand which is sticking to the internal surface of the casting. That is called as a removal of the cores by using a poking action. Again, cores from the large casting may be removed effectively by pneumatic wrapping or hydroblasting. Pneumatic wrapping means directly you have to strike the compressed air on the surface of casting, so that on the surface of core, so that you can break the core very easily. That is called as a pneumatic wrapping, and that compressed air jet is replaced by compressed water jet, that is called as hydroblasting. Cores from the larger casting may be removed effectively by pneumatic wrapping and hydroblasting. If core size is more, we have to use a suitable machines for breaking of the core. Hand method is time consuming, and hand methods are suitable when the core size is small. If core size is big, we have to use pneumatic wrapping or hydroblasting for breaking of that core. Next, removal of gates and risers. Different methods are used in the industry for removal of the gates and risers according to the type of metal or alloy to be used for the casting, or size of the casting, or size of runner and gates and risers. According to these three criteria, we are using various methods for removal of the gates and risers. Ultimately, that gates and risers are a scrap, but they are very important to produce the sound casting. Without using gates and risers, it is not possible to produce the casting. The choice of particular method depends on type of metal or alloy to be used, means whether that material is a brittle material or ductile material, or whether it is a non-ferrous metal or ferrous metal. Size of casting: for smaller casting we are using different method, and for larger casting we can use other methods. Again, size of runner, gates and risers: for smaller size of runner, gates and risers we have to think of different methods, and for bigger one we have to use other methods. Now first we will see few of the commonly used methods in the foundry industry for removal of gates and risers. That is, first is a chipping hammer. The chipping hammer is an air driven hammer having chisel as the cutting edge. Chisel means knife edge. That hammer is having knife edge at its one side and plane surface at its other side, and that hammer is driven by air, means we are using power to drive that hammer, and just we have to direct that chisel edge on the gate section or at the bottom of riser. Directly you can place those surfaces below this chisel edge of that hammer, and you can cut it down. That is the use of chipping hammer. Chipping hammer is an air driven hammer having chisel as the cutting tool, and that chisel we have to direct on the surface of gates as well as at the bottom of riser for its removal. Next method of removal of gates and riser is flogging off, or also called as a knocking, and that method is used for also used for removal of gates and risers, but only for brittle metals, and very much precautions the operator has to take, because the gates and risers are removed directly by the hammering. That's why we have to take precaution that the location of the hammer should be such that the crack should not propagate in the surface of casting or on the surface of casting. That's why generally for using of this method we have to provide the notch section while manufacturing the mold cavity, or while making the mold cavity we have to produce the notch section. Notch section means reduction in the cross section area must be provided at the gates or at the bottom of riser, so that on that location you can direct this hammer and you can remove those surfaces. Next is shearing. By using the steel blades you can carry out this shearing. Shearing means that steel blade is having heavy frame, and at the bottom of that heavy frame we have to place the blades, and those blades are having a knife edges, and that blades we have to direct on the surface of gate or at the bottom of riser, so that there will be a cutting action, that is called as a shearing. Next method is sawing. By using different types of saws, that is hacksaw, bandsaw, circular saw, in the industry we can cut the gates and risers. Next method is abrasive wheel slitting. Abrasive wheel slitting, we have seen this method for cutting of steel used in the construction industry. For cutting of the steel rod, we have seen the worker from that construction industry, they are using this abrasive wheel, which is having 3 mm thickness and it has a 500 mm diameter, and it is continuously rotating. Under rotary condition of that wheel, you have to press the gates and bottom of riser below that wheel, so that you can cut it by the abrasive wheel slitting. Next is machining. By using conventional type of machine tools, that is a milling machine or shaper planer slaughter machine, you can, or lathe machine, you can cut the gates and risers. That is again one of the method. Next is flame cutting. We can use gas cutting or plasma arc cutting for removal of the gates and risers. Just you have to direct that flame on the surface of gate or at the bottom of riser for its easy removal. All these are the various types of removal of gates and risers from the surface of casting, so that you will get the casting for cleaning and its inspection as well as a heat treatment. Now next method is cleaning the surface of casting. Casting has two surfaces. If it is a hollow, that is outside and inside surfaces of casting are cleaned off from the sand particles and oxide scale. In the first chapter, while studying the limitations, we have seen adhering sand and oxide scale. These two are important major defects in the foundry industry, and which we have to overcome. For that purpose, we have to use the optimum results. This extent of surface cleaning required depends upon metal or size of the casting. We have seen for ferrous material pouring temperature is more, that's why these two defects are more, that is adhering sand and oxide scale. Again, it depends on the size of casting. Obviously, bigger size of the casting requires more cleaning as compared to smaller size of the casting. Steel casting required more cleaning because 2300 centigrade is the pouring temperature of the steel casting. At a higher temperature, the sand particles which are smaller in size, they are directly burning, and burn on sand defect will come on the surface of casting, which is very much difficult to remove. Understood? But for aluminum casting, it is virtually free from burn on sand defect, because pouring of aluminum is generally carried out 700 centigrade, and that much of lower temperature there are negligible chances of burning of the sand which is in contact with the aluminum. That's why non-ferrous metals require a less cleaning as compared to ferrous metal, because pouring temperature of ferrous metal is more. Again, ferrous metals are susceptible to the oxidation. That's why oxide scale is also more in case of ferrous casting. Sand may be removed from the surface of casting using hand methods or mechanical equipment. There are various methods. Hand methods, 4 methods are there, means use of wire brush, use of file, use of pick, and use of crowbar. These are the 4 methods which are done by the operator for removal of the sand from the surface of casting. Or we can use mechanical methods, that is tumbling or rumbling, velocirator system, chemical cleaning methods are there. All these are the various types of methods of cleaning the surface of casting. Now first, hand methods, that is there are 4 different methods which are done by operator's hand for cleaning the surface of casting. That is, first is wire brush, second is file, third is pick, and last one is the crowbar. Now we know that hand methods has some limitations, and they are mostly suitable for small quantities, as well as size of casting is a small. Hand methods are slow and costly, especially when the number of castings are large. If the number of castings are large, these methods are not economical to use. Again, if size of casting is more, also it is not possible to use in those conditions. First, wire brush, it is hardened steel wires, they are fixed in a block of wood. We are using a toothbrush for our teeth for its cleaning early in the morning. In the same manner, only that fiber wires from our toothbrush, they are replaced by hardened steel wires, and our plastic brush is replaced by a wooden block. That is the construction of wire brush. This wire brush is operated mostly on the non-ferrous metals like aluminum, magnesium, copper, brass, bronze, and rarely it can be used for grey cast iron also. This wire brush may be hand or power driven. Understood? If number of castings are less, size of casting is small, we can use hand driven wire brush. If number of castings are more, as well as size of casting is big, at that time we can use power driven wire brush. Hardened steel wires, they are embedded in a block of wood. That is the construction of wire brush, and by using that wire brush we have to rub the surface of casting so that you can clean its surface. That is very simple to understand use of wire brush. Second is file. In the practical, we have seen the application of file. We have seen smooth file, again bastard file, rough file. All these are the files available in our workshop also. By using that files, we can clean the surface of casting. But this is also a time consuming process, because we have to fix the casting in the jaws, that is fixed jaw and movable jaw, and each and every casting we have to rub by using that file. Next is pick, that tool used for digging, means core sand which is sticking to the internal surface of the casting is removed by using a tool. That tool is called as a pick. That pick is having a pin point at its front, and that by using that pin point we can remove the core sand. Next one is the crowbar. That crowbar is having the shape of the mouth of crow, so that we can hold the coarse and bigger particles which are to the inner surface of the casting. After breaking of that core, we have to remove the big particles of that sand from inner surface of that casting, so that we can use this crowbar in that manner. This is the hand methods of cleaning the surface of casting or for removal of the adhering sand. Next one is the mechanical methods. These are tumbling or rumbling. Tumbling is also called as rumbling. Air blasting, in that two methods: sand blasting, shot blasting. Next one is mechanical blast cleaning, also named as a vibrator system. Fourth one hydroblasting, and last one is the chemical cleaning. One by one we will see. First is tumbling or rumbling. This is also very simple method. Tumbling or rumbling is used for removing adhering sand from the surface of casting. First of all, understand why the sand is adhering to the surface of casting. Because at a higher temperature, the sand which comes in contact with the molten metal, it sticks to the surface of casting. That is the main cause of the adhering sand defect, and it should be limited, because secondary machining we cannot go for to each and every surface of the casting. That's why adhering sand defect should be a minimum as possible as much. Tumbling or rumbling method is used for removing adhering sand from the surface of casting. It uses rotating iron drum or steel barrel, cylindrical, hexagonal or octagonal in section. We have to use the rotating iron drum that may have a cross section of cylindrical, hexagonal or octagonal. This barrel is filled with castings to be clean, star shaped hard iron pieces, small pieces of gates and runners, graphite chips, pieces of graphite electrode. Everything is packed inside that container or cylindrical or inside that iron drum. This barrel, which has a cross section of cylinder, hexagonal or octagonal, is filled with castings to be clean, star shaped hard iron pieces, small pieces of gates and runners, granite chips and pieces of graphite electrodes. This everything is scrap, whatever except the casting, whatever we have used for cleaning the surface of casting, everything is a scrap. Now the barrel ends are closed and the barrel is rotated at about 30 rpm. It is an efficient method of cleaning which reduces the amount of grinding required. This is efficient method of cleaning which reduces the amount of grinding required after tumbling. Tumbling is a cheap process, is simple and cheap process for the cleaning the surface of casting, especially in small foundry. This required 30 minutes. Means that drum or that steel barrel is rotated at 30 rpm for next 30 minutes, so that star shaped hard iron pieces, small pieces of gates and runners, granite chips, pieces of graphite electrodes, everything, it is producing a rubbing action on the surface of casting, and due to that rubbing action the surface of casting will get cleaned off. That is the use of tumbling or rumbling process. This is a mechanical method to clean the surface of casting. Next one is the air blasting. Air blasting makes use of high pressure stream of air. We have seen this. We have to use a compressed air for cleaning the surface of casting. While taking a bore well in our at our home or in the farm, we have seen the workers, they are using the compressed air to clean their clothes. In the same manner, we have to use this compressed air to clean the surface of casting. Just we can use this compressed air along with sand or metal shot. Sand or metal shot we are using to clean the surface of casting along with compressed air, then it is called as a sand blasting. And if the sand particles are dipped into the water, then it is called as hydroblasting. If the stream of air carrying the sand strikes against the surface of casting, the process is known as sand blasting. Very simple to understand. The stream of air carrying the sand strikes against the surface of casting to be cleaned, the process is known as sand blasting. The sand particles are introduced into the air stream by means of suction caused by compressed air jet. Means at the top of that compressed air pipe, we have to place one funnel, and in that funnel we have to insert the sand particles. Means as and when compressed air will flow through that pipe, the suction is created at the junction of that funnel and that compressed air pipe, and due to suction that sand particles are introduced into the stream of air, and under high pressure they are striking on the surface of casting so that there will be a cleaning action. Sand particles fed into high velocity air jet are responsible for abrasive action on the casting surfaces, which in turn get cleaned. Now, sand casting is effective method of cleaning the surface of casting, but it has very important problem. Silica, dry silica dust is created in the environment. The operator who is working in the sand blasting section, he has a respiratory diseases because dry silica dust is created in the environment, and that dry silica dust due to inhalation it may enter into our respiratory system. Although we are taking utmost precaution, but we cannot 100% restrict that sand to take into the respiratory system. That's why the sand blasting has a limitations. Again, it creates a noise. Sandblasting has a noisy operation, and we have to protect the human beings working under that area. We will stop here. Remaining method we will see in the next lecture.